You know, for the last 6 to 8 months, I've been talking about what's been happening in the actual tech space and even what's been going on with PC gaming. Whether it's the insane price increases we've seen on PC components, we've also seen massive amounts of companies like Nvidia, Intel, AMD, and even Oracle all start dumping money into each other into what I would consider to be a massive Ponzi scheme. I was called everything except a child of God, conspiracy theorist, wackadoo. He gets everything wrong. All these companies have all this profit and money. There's no way they would increase the cost of their systems or consoles. This is a problem only for PC gamers. Console gamers never have to deal with anything like this. They subsidize their systems because of the games we buy. Well, it turns out those 6 to 8 months have finally come home to roost, because clearly we are watching in real time as the gaming industry has absolutely no idea what it is in fact doing, and all they're going to be doing in the end is trying to squeeze out every dollar from your back pocket and then blame you for not buying enough. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I really do mean what I'm saying. And the thing is this, there's a term in the business world, and the term is what the market will bear. This basically just means that companies will charge you what they think a person will pay for that product. Not the actual production, not the cost, not the shipping. Nothing else is in fact part of the pricing strategy except what the company thinks you are willing to pay for it. And every single time we see this happen, companies now no longer want to take a loss on selling consoles. They want to make as much money as possible through every single sale sold, whether it's the actual component at cost or making a profit off of that sale as well. And we've seen so many other companies take this exact same approach. PlayStation did it, Xbox did it, Nintendo did it, even Valve did it at the exact same time, because we don't know the cost of production for what the Steam Deck is. Yet we saw a $250 price increase on that Steam Deck device, and you can bet your sweet bippy every other device is going to be impacted as well because of the RAM crisis. And things got even worse before all this in fact took off, when the PS5 Pro launched at $700, then got a price increase, then got another price increase to $900 as well. Clearly, we're getting to the point right now where the market will not be able to bear these kinds of prices, because the absolute greed of the gaming industry is in fact showing on full display. And it turns out that companies like PlayStation and Nintendo are going to be the first ones feeling the wrath of when a market is unable to bear the prices they're trying to push forward. And clearly, this is in fact an absolute warning for everyone else. Every time a company posts record profits, ask them why they're raising the prices. Because we're not talking about revenue. We're talking about record profits by PlayStation in this entire generation. Yet for some reason, they want to charge you more. Same thing with the Switch 2, by the way. Isn't that funny? But you know what? Let's see what happened and why everybody is now freaking out. Because according to Insider Gaming, the PlayStation 5 UK sales dropped by 50% in May. Oh, buckle up, it's gonna get good, and it's exactly what I knew would happen in this space. You see, the gaming industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they've made record profits consistently, quarter over quarter, year over year, and especially after 2020, when everyone was stuck inside of their homes, making tons of money every single time. And the problem is, they didn't see it as an anomaly, they saw it as the baseline, and they want to keep that red line always going up, never in the negative. And that's exactly what they're dealing with right now. You see, PlayStation was one of the actual few companies that was told by a lot of insiders that they had gobs and gobs of RAM to stay afloat while the entire RAM crisis in fact was happening. Turns out that wasn't true at all. PlayStation had to effectively raise the prices of their consoles, with the PS5 Slim being $650 and the PS5 Pro hitting $900 as well, clearly out of the mark of everybody else's lane. And the most wild part about this was the actual PS5 Pro price increase. They gave people 2 weeks to go out and buy a PS5 Pro at the $750 cost. I'm sorry, my bad. I was being a little bit too generous for PlayStation. It wasn't 2 weeks of a warning. It was 1 week of a warning. But it looks like even with that price increase, nobody seems to be buying. and it's also going to impact everybody else. But let's look at the article and find out what's going on. With Insider Gaming saying this, according to a new report, PS5 sales dropped 50% in May 2026, coming very close to Xbox's numbers. For those unaware, Sony announced a major price increase for the PS5, PS5 Pro, and PlayStation Portal, which may have contributed to the console's drop in sales. Up until now, the PS5 and Switch 2 have been swapping places at the top, and it seems May will go to Nintendo's new console. May's UK sales information for the PS5 comes through a new X post by Christopher Dring. Dring's new post reveals that PS5's May sales took a 50% hit in the region and were just 400 units higher than the Xbox Series X and S. The Xbox consoles, on the other hand, saw a 12% increase in sales, boosted by the release of their exclusive title, Forza Horizon 6. The Switch 2 sat comfortably in first place for the month. And look, I know exactly what I've been seeing online right now. No, the Xbox did not gain sales because of Forza Horizon 6. You can't sit there and talk about a 12% increase when your actual competitor had a 50% decrease due to its pricing. And the crazier part is, the reason why the Xbox Series consoles sold better was not because of Forza Horizon 6, even though that game is not exclusive. And also it's going to PlayStation. The Xbox consoles sold better because they were in fact cheaper than the PlayStation consoles. That is the real deal, what's going on right now. You see, because at this moment in time, with just checking the prices, the Series X console is $599, the white one. The Series X with the disc drive is $650, and the Series S is $399. And think of it from this perspective about the massive gap that Xbox still has to deal with. Even with a 50% decrease on PlayStation console sales and a 12% bump on Xbox, they were 400 units apart from each other. That's how far PlayStation had to fall in order to be somewhat in line with what Xbox is selling on their systems, which really tells me one specific thing. If Xbox truly wants to compete in this space, it's not going to be with exclusivity. It's going to be who has the better price. And in my opinion, the Series X should be $399. The Series S should be $199. People are looking for actual compute, and when they find it, they're going to buy it as quickly as possible because nobody can afford anything right now. And if Xbox is truly smart about things, they'd lower the Game Pass price again down to $19.99 or even $14.99. Hell, go for the gusto and remove the online paywall completely. That way multiplayer is completely free across the board. You want to compete? Now is not the time for exclusivity. Now is the time to bring proper, cheaper compute to actual users and for companies to, in fact, take a hit. Instead, we're seeing the opposite. Prices increase, sales decrease, and users being pushed to the brink and sacrificing everything they can to, in fact, stay afloat in today's day and age. And you know what? We're going to be seeing this entire shrinkage of the market, not just in the UK and not just with PlayStation, but also with Nintendo. Because according to VGC News on Twitter saying this, Switch 2 hardware sales dropped 87% week on week in Japan following its price increase. Sales had surged after Nintendo's announcement that it was raising prices and have now plummeted since it took effect in Japan. Yeah, 50% in the UK for PlayStation, 87% drop in Japan for the Nintendo Switch. And Nintendo had the most paltry of actual price increases from any of the big competitors I've seen right now. A mere $50 price increase. And even though I've criticized Nintendo immensely, that $50 price increase was nothing compared to what Valve did or even what PlayStation or Xbox did to their hardware. Now, Nintendo has been greedy in other ways, because even right now, Elden Ring on the Switch is $80, and it comes in a key card, by the way. So congratulations, boys. You're also part of the problem. You didn't get away scot-free either. But a drop of 87% in their own home country, which really they've been dominating for an incredibly long time. And on top of that, was so big of their dominance in Japan that PlayStation decided to reduce the price of their consoles in Japan as well, just to keep up and try to actually match with sales. But clearly, everybody's in a slump, and nobody knows why. I'm sorry. I know why, and you know why, and everybody else knows why, but the companies don't want to admit it. But let's see what happened. With the article saying this, Nintendo announced last month that it would be raising the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 consoles in the United States, Europe, Canada, and Japan. While the US, Europe, and Canada won't see the price increase being implemented until September 1st, in Japan, it took effect on May 25th. On this date, the price of the Japan-only region-locked Switch 2, the version available everywhere in Japan except for Nintendo's own online store, rose from $312 to $374. The increase appears to have had an immediate impact on Switch 2 hardware sales, according to the latest weekly software and hardware sales charts from Famitsu. In the previous 3 weeks, the Switch 2 sold 214,438 units. 217,922 units, and 247,880 units, according to Famitsu's previous charts. Last week, however, from period of May 25th to May 31st, the console sold 31,751 units, a drop of 87%. I gotta stop everybody right here real quick. We're not even talking about the $450 Switch that we're seeing here in the States. We're talking about a $312 Switch that is region locked only to Japan. What is that, like $150 that they're saving over there on that end? And then it gets a price increase of what, $62 US to $374, and it drops sales by 87%? What do you think is going to happen in today's day and age right now when the same thing occurs for the Switch 2 in every other country? I want to know. I need to know. I think people are going to say, you know what? Nah, not for me. I don't think so, bucko. That's way too much for my blood. And I think everybody else is saying that across the board, regardless of region, regardless of product. And people are looking for other ways to entertain themselves that are not going to nickel and dime them every single time. And we're watching this happen in real time, which is the scariest thing of all, as GPU prices increase, RAM increases, SSD price increases, and everything else that's impacting us. Even regular appliances are getting price increases, and it truly shows there is no sign of this stopping until the AI bubble bursts. Do I have everybody's attention right now? Is the conspiracy theorist label finally taken off of my head? Can we actually get back to what's really important right now? The fact that these companies are literally charging you more money in your region, less money in their own region, and then they still lose sales because of the price increases. Clearly, the market cannot bear these kinds of prices. And the gaming industry will in fact do one of these two things. Either A, they'll course correct, realize we have to take a loss in this meantime right now. It is an anomaly in this space. It is not a guaranteed standard. And while they take that loss, they can make more sales and make up money for it in the actual space of selling games. That would be the smart thing to do, the long-term play. Or they can double down, which is what I'm guessing they're going to be doing. More price increases for consoles, more price increases for games. PlayStation increased the price of their own goddamn PSN network. And clearly all we're seeing is people getting tired and sick of going ahead and having to open up their wallets every single time for the same product or even worse quality than we've had since earlier generations. And look, people can tell me, Alex, you're wrong. It's not the RAM crisis. These companies aren't greedy. That's totally incorrect. Well, take a look at this. In the 3 weeks before Nintendo's announcement, Switch 2 had sold 52,000 units, 44,000 units, and 45,000 units in Japan, suggesting the recent huge jump in sales was due to players buying Switch 2 consoles before they got more expensive. Last week's sales of 31,000, however, are still lower than they were before the announcement. The price increase also appears to have had a drastic effect on the sales of the original Switch model. In the 6 previous weeks, it had sold 3,000 units, 4,000 units, 5,000 units, 7,000, 5,000, and 2,000. But last week, it sold just 229 units, outsold by the Xbox Series X. Okay, brother. Okay, all right, listen. The joke's over right now. The fact that the Xbox Series X outsold even the Switch 1 in Japan is actually insane. 200 plus sales of the original Switch, even right now, is actually ridiculous, especially after the price increase. And the thing is, Nintendo increased the price of that system because they wanted to make the Switch 2 look like a better deal overall. Xbox is catching W's because everybody else is completely fucking up. That's really what it actually is. And I'm going to be upfront about these things, right? Every single console manufacturer and every single person right now should be looking at their bottom line and realizing that these companies cannot sit here and try to squeeze out all of their customers every single time and survive off of the backs of just a few big whales that are buying their systems at exorbitant prices. Companies like Microsoft, Nintendo, and even PlayStation and Valve are going to have to look and say, where can we take the loss on this between every single device made and every single one sold, and how do we recoup these losses in other ways, and not doing it by raising the price in other sectors to offset things out. No, they need to make sure they bring proper value to their customers. And if hardware is going to be what helps do that, then they need to figure out ways of reducing the price of their hardware and doing better with more services, more things that make the user feel better, and less predatory monetization practices that are going to cause people to basically not buy your product because of the price and then not use your service because of the way they're being monetized. PlayStation increasing the price of their PSN network while Xbox decreased their price is exactly what I'm talking about. If Xbox can just say, you know what, it's $3, we're back to $19.99, you're going to be seeing a massive influx of people go to that platform instead, or sign up for Game Pass overall to get their gaming fix. Even if they can't go ahead and buy the hardware, they're going to go ahead and use that service because of xCloud. And I think that's exactly what companies like Microsoft, in fact, want. Less hardware being sold, more people on the service, keeping them attached with a monthly quota, and then slowly but surely boiling the frog up and making them pay, either by going ahead and paying more per month or by injecting ads into each kind of service tier to make them watch an ad before they play the game. Yes, that's real. Yes, they're testing it. Yes, get ready for it, baby. But I think right now what needs to happen is that these companies have to say, you know what? We're in a bubble right now. This is AI. It's going to pop. Even Sam Altman doesn't understand why companies are mad about blowing all of their entire budget on tokens when trying to use vibe coding. And clearly, many CEOs have not seen an actual return or benefit from using AI over people. So it's going to be a hell of a big way when this bubble in fact bursts and everybody realizes, oh, this was all a giant Ponzi scheme in the first place. And the problem is the gaming industry will have to do a couple of things. Either A, eat crow and lower the prices back down when the bubble bursts, or two, they're going to go ahead and keep the prices high because you've already been conditioned to paying those prices in the first place. And honestly, I feel like they're going to go with option two. I think they're going to try and keep the prices up while screwing over all the bottom level of people in the gaming industry who want to play video games, who can't afford to buy every game at $80 or $1,000 system, or $1,000 handheld, or a $500 handheld in order to pass the time. And those people will find something else. But the problem is there's no baseline. It's all the companies trying to milk people out of the money that they can. And the thing is, they're squeezing blood from a stone. You're better off having a larger, wider audience base that will give you smaller amounts of money over time rather than trying to go ahead and go after the big whales and milk them for what they're worth. And I think that's really what's wrong with the gaming industry right now. All they're seeing are the massive dollar signs, and they're not watching the actual baseline of users. They're eroding away out of a hobby I truly care about and enjoy. I really feel like the second crash of video games is going to be hitting harder than we saw previously back in the 80s. And not in the sense of what we saw back then, where nobody got into games and Nintendo had to basically resurrect the entire hobby. I'm going to be seeing it as this: the AAA gaming, massive console, big budget, blockbuster games, those are going to disappear, and gaming is going to shrink and retract back to its more hardcore base. And that's going to be where people are going to be playing AA games, indie games, smaller scope, smaller budget, and having games come out every year and a half to 2 years like we used to have back in the day. And I think that's where we're going to have another renaissance. Shave off all the excess fat and leave it incredibly clean and lean. And even though it seems like I'm definitely huffing the hopium, that really feels to me like where gaming is going to be going. It's going to be an explosive burst when this bubble in fact pops, and it's going to take away a lot of other companies that we really enjoy. But I think in the meantime, what you're seeing on PC is what you're going to be seeing survive this entire cataclysmic event. The only thing these companies have to do is simply take the L, lower the price, bring it back down to normal or even a little bit cheaper than before, and get new long-term agreements. Because clearly, once this RAM cartel is broken up, things are going to get like the Wild West all over again. And the only company that I could truly see doing that, ironically enough, is Microsoft. And if they do that and they lower the prices of their systems and they lower the prices of their services, you're going to be seeing everyone else in the entire industry completely panic, because honestly, in my opinion, they're probably the only ones that can afford to do it. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys got to say about this in the comment section down below. Do you think these companies are going to lower their prices anytime soon? Do you think there's going to be another massive price increase? Or do you think some companies could actually finally get their head out of their own ass and do something right for you as a customer, as a paying customer, by the way? I want to hear what you've got to say. And speaking about what you got to say, here's the comment of the day from yesterday's video. The Koi Key says this: when Epic literally gives games away for free and people still choose to buy those games on Steam, the issue has absolutely nothing to do with pricing. And that's absolutely correct. What we're seeing right now are people looking for a good deal in a good place where they can in fact buy their video games at a decent price. The problem is though, every game right now is way too expensive, way overblown, and truly does not fit what the market is actually looking for, whether even by style or pricing alone. And until that changes, you're going to have a gaming industry that clearly has no idea who they're marketing to. But as always, if you guys want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and live streams, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want Discord access or emotes during those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. Look, if you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights live, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel. And trust me, it'll be a hell of a show as I get insulted with TTS. Believe it, it's actually insane. Live Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel. Do you want to see even more of me though? Check out Oh No It's Alex Gaming. Link to that channel is in the description down below. I stream there every single weekday, Monday to Friday between 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. Right now we're playing 007 last night, and new videos go up there every single Monday as well. Definitely check it out if you haven't. We just broke 10K subs and are on our way to 11K too. It's kind of insane when you think about it. With all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!